Take your hat off, mate! On second thoughts, put it back on!
You have information regarding the treacherous vermin known as the Doctor.
You're talking to her.
What?
You deceived my soldier!
It wasn't difficult.
It is regrettable that our Flux strategy did not foresee your presence, but we shall not falter.
You knew the Flux was coming? So what caused it? Is it you lot? Are the Sontarans behind the Flux?
The Flux is neither of our making or our control, but our psychic command foresaw it. We timed our attack on this feeble rock in the fractions before the Lipari shield took effect.
While we were all looking the other way, you must be very proud.
This planet has defied us ever since the great Commander Lynx first staked his claim on the ground of its feeble soil. We now assert that claim. Earth shall be an outpost of the Sontaran Empire.
No, it won't. But why here? Why Sebastopol?
The Crimean skirmish seems the perfect place to start. So much conflict, so much opportunity. And also, I wanted to ride a horse.
Hello and welcome to Who Watches Who, a Doctor Who podcast with me, Matthew, and as always...
Hello, I'm Scott.
This is our third episode this week, assuming I get it out tonight. I might get it out tomorrow night because I am shattered, but we are covering the Sontaran War, episode 2 of Doctor Who The Flux, which we literally moments ago finished watching for the first time, so this is very fresh opinions.
Yeah, it just finished 20 minutes ago, so this is the freshest we've ever delivered our opinions on an episode, which is...
Yeah, we've had no time to think about all of the things that happened, and just our gut reaction of, yeah, it was pretty good. But, what did you think about this episode?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Cool. Well, we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, overall it was pretty good apart from like one plot point, which doesn't matter in the end, so good episode overall. Let's dive into it, I guess.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I thought it was really, really good as well. And yeah, let's just jump into it because it's hard praising something when it's positive because you just gotta go like, yeah, that was good and this bit was good and I like that bit. It's much easier to criticize. Oh yeah, the episode opened with this really cool like horror film shot where it's in black and white and the Doctor's looking at this weird spooky house.
Oh yeah, what was that?
I have no idea. It's another, check it in the new plot points, like showing up because it's another new plot point.
So in the trailer we saw the Doctor look at weeping angels from the outside of a house. It might be the same house.
Yeah, maybe.
But
I thought it was cool though. It had a really cool aesthetic look to it. I was like, ooh, spooky black and white Doctor Who.
Yeah, I honestly forgot that episode opened like this because it's never mentioned again.
Yeah, it's never mentioned again, and this is a very plot-driven episode, which is nice because like last episode was like, here's a plot, 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 and it just kept going on like that for about 40 minutes. Whereas this one was like, okay, the Sontarans showed up. We're just going to focus in on that, and maybe we'll cut to this this time planet towards the end a bit more. But we're mainly focusing on the Sontarans and just the Doctor and Dan solving a problem. And I really, really digged it. I also Jodie in this. Maybe her best time as the Doctor so far. She was like genuinely doing Doctor-esque stuff.
Yeah. At one point she said, "Sometimes men like you make me wonder why I bother with humanity," which is such a great line for the Doctor.
Yeah, I also liked when that captain dude finally gave in to Jodie, and he was like, help me, and she went, okay, well, I'm going to need a very big stick, as she starts waving it around on the strategy board thing. I thought that was a really good Doctor moment.
But yeah, we open up on 1855 is Crimean War, and Mary Sequel is one of the main characters of this, and I honestly don't know who she is. I'm not versed in history. I guess she opened up hotels in this war, and that's her whole background.
Mary Jane Seacole was a British Jamaican healer and businesswoman who set up the British Hotel behind the lines during the Crimean War. She seems like an interesting lady. I've never heard about her, but to be fair, we were both raised in the British education system, so.
I do like this era of Doctor Who where it's like, oh, here's this historical figure, and she's dealing with an enemy we already know, like when Mary Shelley faced up against the Cybermen, which is awesome. I really like this era's historical episodes.
Yeah, and it plays into the Chibnall's era being a bit more kid-centric, where it's a bit more, the history episodes are a bit more educational than some of them have been before. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and I thought the lady that was playing Mary Seacole in this did a really good job as well.
I think every actor who's been playing these historical roles have been excellently cast. Like Nikola Tesla last season, Mary Shelley,
yeah,
Rosa Parks was also well cast.
Yeah,
like everyone's been well cast.
Remember in Rosa Parks the time traveling Nazis that never came up again?
Yes.
But yeah, we see a lot more of the Sontarans in this episode. And last week I was saying that I didn't think their makeup was super great, and I'm still in two heads about it. There's certain points where they're talking and moving, and I'm like, damn, this makeup looks actually excellent right now. And then every now and then it's like, oh, your lip looks a bit wrong.
Yeah. I think I like this. They look pretty good in this episode, I thought. Yeah, I didn't see any of the flaws.
Yeah, well, I did. But yeah, no, I enjoyed them in this episode. This is probably the best Sontaran episode we've had in forever.
Yeah, it's probably the best since Tom Baker in the 70s. The last Tom Baker episode, which is wild.
Yeah, they felt like an actual threat almost,
They took out an entire army, which is insane.
Yeah. The only thing that I struck issue with, and it's nothing to do with the episode, it was the second that the Doctor and what was her name? Oh my god, I just said it.
Mary Seacole.
Yeah, the second the Doctor and Mary Seacole went through that invisible wall thing and looked at all the Sontaran ships, I went, oh, that's the shot from the trailer where they all explode. And then I went, oh, that's the shot from the trailer where they all explode. Yeah. That's the downside to marketing, isn't it? It just spoils some things. We also... So there's 3 plot points going on in this episode, isn't there? There's the stuff with the Sontarans, which we'll dig a bit deeper into, but also the episode cuts about with Game of Thrones guy, whose character's name I still don't remember. They said it once or twice, I think, in the previously on, really briefly. It's a weird name. Jug.
Give me a Jughead. Vinder.
Yeah, Vinder. It sounds just like Jug. Where he's on Atropos. We made fun of the name Atropos when we were doing the episode preview last week, and I still think it's a dumb name.
Yeah.
But his whole story in this I thought to be really, really interesting, because it's getting into heavy sci-fi.
It really is. It's the most sci-fi Doctor Who has been in quite a while, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's on the planet Atropos, which we later on discover it's the center of time.
I thought the planet was called Time.
The planet's called Time because that's where they control time, because time is chaotic, and I think the Swarm says that time is evil.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting way to describe time.
And like these Morai people are controlling time, and because they're kind of phasing in and out of existence, time has been all fucked up. So, which I guess creates a flux. The
Maybe.
flux is a consequence of time being fucked up.
So we need to find out what's making them mess up. If we don't find out why they were messing up on Atropos, it'll be a bit disappointing. If it's just they were messing up for no reason, you know?
I'm sure we'll find out.
Yeah, but also the third other plot point, I'm just touching all bases that go on, is Dan in Liverpool, because he gets snapped back. Yaz and Dan end up back to the futuring themselves, where they fade out of existence with the Doctor and get sent somewhere else. Yaz ends up... Does she go straight to Atropos?
Yeah, she does. She winds up right there, which is weird.
She had nothing to do with this episode at all.
Because if she was a normal person, she would have wound up at like a police station being like, oh, why am I here again? Whereas now, because she doesn't realize, she forgot she's a police officer, apparently. She's now in Planet Time, which I guess was a trap set up by the Swarm. Swarm took her there, I guess. I don't know, because Swarm knew who she was.
Why would Yaz end up on Atropos? Atropos. Why would Yaz end up there? That's an interesting point. I guess random, and Dan just so happened to end up in Liverpool right outside his house by coincidence.
Or the giant gap where his house used to be.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
But we see with Dan that when he ends up back in Liverpool, all the Sontarans have basically taken over Liverpool, and they appeared in Liverpool in the snap second before the dog people protected the Earth, and also the dogs people's protection of the Flux was successful.
Yeah, but it wasn't successful against the Sontarans, which is confusing.
Yeah. Also... So the dog people surrounded the Earth, protecting the Earth, but every other planet in the solar system, and also presumably the moon, has been destroyed.
Yeah.
And the sun also surely got destroyed as well. But no, everything's fine.
Yeah, I presume her protection is fucking up with her oxygen of some sort. Like, it's really weird.
Yeah, the protection thing I don't get. I guess the solar system's okay for now. But the Sontarans have taken over, and we meet Dan's parents, who were definitely characters.
Yeah,
that were.
The dad reminds me too much of Bernard Cribbins as Donna's granddad, especially with him being like, "Oh, you can knock out the Sontaran with this walk." It reminds me a lot of the Stolen Earth when Wilfred tries the paint gun against the Daleks.
Yeah, as soon as I saw him, before he even said a word, I was getting those vibes off him, and then when he started to speak, it doubled down on it even more. But they were fine. They really didn't do much other than to let the audience and let Dan and then by de facto the audience know that the Sontarans have a get out of jail free slot on the back of their neck, where if you just go bosh, they go down, which is the best weakness that a great unstoppable army can have, isn't it?
Yeah, it's such a strange weakness. I'm surprised they haven't written anything to be like, oh, they've protected it with a little bubble at the back now, so you have to try and remove the bubble somehow. We've never really
with like with every other Doctor Who villain, it's like, oh, the Daleks have force fields now, oh, they can fly.
Yeah,
like whereas the Sontarans, it's like, yeah, no, just hit them in the back of the head, they go down easy.
like the Cybermen used to be allergic to gold, and now it's less likely for them to be allergic to gold. And the Sontarans are just the same now. It's weird.
And when Yaz ends up on Atropos, she ends up speaking to the Victorian guy that was mining, and he seemed he seemed super calm to see Yaz, and seemed confused that she was from a different time, and then wandered off again. So my guess is he's like a projection, or he's trapped between time, because time's going weird at the moment, and we're just getting the starts of time being weird. I think it's going to be like, the Matt Smith episode where all of time is happening at once. Yeah.
Is that the end of series 5?
I think so.
Sorry, the end of series 6 with Wedding of the River Song.
Yeah. There's like a sci-fi London, but Winston Churchill's the Prime Minister, and I feel like it's going to be that type of Doctor Who scenario by the finale.
Yeah.
Which is fun, but
what we have yet to know is what happens if a Flux attacks Earth. Does Earth then kind of go into chaos like the end of Series 6? Or does it just get erased from existence?
I still don't understand how the Earth is fine from the dog people protecting. So I am not going to think about the Flux until Chibnall explains them a bit more, because there is a lot of issues already with the whole concept of them destroying the solar system, but everything else being okay. And how did the dog people protect them from it? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, they've been holding. I think they said like a few days have passed, or at least a week. Mm-hmm. They've been holding it. They've been holding the fort for quite some time now, which is very bizarre.
Yeah, I don't get it, but heyo, whatever. When Yaz is with the Victorian guy as well, we get a little look at her hand, where we see she's drawn on WWTDD. What would the Doctor do? Which actually ends up playing into later on in the episode, and was both yourself and mine's least favorite part in this episode. It was like the writing for this one was, I think, some of Chibnall's best writing he's done. Like, I thought it was a really solid script, and then it was like, oh, you had to fit one bit that made me go, oh, stop. Like,
it's really ridiculous. It's like, we get it. She wants to act like the Doctor here because she's alone. She's on an alien spaceship or planet, and she's alone now, so she needs to know what to do. So obviously she's going to act like the Doctor. We don't need that hammered in for us.
Why would she write it on her hand?
When did she write it on her hand?
I was about to say when. She's been with the Doctor every waking moment except for this brief. Although I suppose when she gets transported into Atropos, she's like, oh, getting separated from the Doctor, I should get a GPS thing, because it happens all the time. So maybe she's been in several situations where she's had to pretend to be like the Doctor to survive. But the last time we saw a companion do that, they got a crow through their chest. So I have a feeling Yaz is going to be dying at some point. Not this series, because I'm pretty sure she'd shot the specials with Jodie. But
yeah,
I could see Yaz dying. Or, and I didn't even consider this until I was listening to a Doctor Who podcast. Not Who Watches Who, a different inferior podcast.
Impossible. There is no other podcast.
And they were hinting at a possible relationship between the Doctor and Yaz. And I kind of get vibes from that in this one, specifically when Yaz is disappearing, and she's like, "I'll come for you, Yaz," and Yaz is like, "Promise, promise." It was very dramatic. Whereas Dan vanished, and she went, "Oh no, Dan!" Like,
to be fair, she's only known Dan for like half an hour.
True. Their other main point was in last episode when they fall into the TARDIS, they land in a double mattress that just so happens to be in the command room.
But yeah, this kind of goes back to Mandip Cole, I think her name is, saying that she...
Mandip Gill.
Gill, yeah. Why did I think her last name was Cole?
I have no idea.
But I remember her saying she wants for the Doctor and Yaz to have a romantic relationship, which I don't think will happen, but we'll see.
I don't think it will happen overtly, but I think it will be like one of those things where they'll shoot a scene and they'll give each other like a look. Like it'll be said with their eyes more than said overtly, so the audience can infer it, or if they don't want to believe it to be canon, they can just be like, no, they're just good friends. Like there's one of my favorite scenes from this episode though was the parlay between the Doctor and the Sontaran commander. I thought that was a really, really, really good scene, especially for Jodie's Doctor, who doesn't have a lot of good scenes where she can be the Doctor. But just her standing there talking with the Sontarans and trying to figure out what's going on. And, you know, she's like being rather strong-handed with the Sontarans. I mean, like, you know, I am the Doctor, blah, blah, blah. But it gets flipped on her head when she's like, you know, I'm here to protect Earth, it's under my protection, and then she gets the gun pointed at her head from the commander guy. I thought that was really fun. The only thing that I didn't like about it is it's starting to feel really repetitive to me that every single Doctor Who villain has to go, the Doctor's a girl now?
To be fair, even before she was female, we've always been like, oh, we don't know this person is the Doctor. We don't know this incarnation of the Doctor yet. So I don't think it's necessarily just because she's female now. But yeah, I think it would be surprising if you knew the Doctor for like 2,000 years of her existence.
I totally get it. I just find it repetitive that every villain has the same reaction.
True, yeah.
Also, a thing I've like, it's totally irrelevant, but a thing I'd never noticed before is Jodie has a scar in the middle of her forehead.
Yeah, they kind of Photoshop that scar out of like promotional images, which is really interesting. She's like the most airbrushed Doctor on the show yet, which is kind of depressing.
Yeah, I've never noticed that scar before, and then they've got like a close up of Jodie's eyes. It's like, oh. How have I never seen that before? Like,
yeah, I only noticed it because there's discourse about how they remove it on posters.
Ah, right. Gross. Stupid BBC.
Yeah.
Also, what did you think about the special effects in this episode?
They're very good for the whole most part, yeah. I didn't notice anything where I was like, oh, that doesn't look great.
There was one bit for me that I went, ooh, that was a bit rough. And that's the scene right after the parlay where the giant armies show up. Specifically, the army of Sontarans looks fine because, you know, they're faceless, just clones. But it was when the British army showed up, I was like, those are CGI human beings and it doesn't look good. Right. But other than that, I think the CG work in this episode was a lot better than it was last week. Like when we opened up with that horrible green screen. There was no bad green screen in this that I picked up on.
There was I think there was some kind of wonky green screen, kind of like in scenes where it's like smoke to mask the green screen, but I didn't think it was that bad.
Wasn't as overtly horrible as it was. We find out Swarm's sister's name, and it's like something weird. What was it? Like milkshake?
Azure.
Was that it? I could swear it started with an M.
I think it was Azure. Azure.
Yeah, Azure. Weird. Azure. It's a better name than Swarm, I guess. Although I did like Swarm's line where he's like, you know, a rough translation, but it'll do. Where he's like, yeah, it's not really our names, but it's fine. It's close enough. She had a lot more to do in this episode. Just being like a villain, going around. I think the performance of Swarm, like the guy that's playing Swarm, whose name I do not know. Who plays Swarm in Doctor Who? Sam Spurrell. I think he's doing an incredible job as Swarm. I really, really like his monologues.
Yeah, he's really well spoken and just like a gentleman. He's very well.
Yeah, he manages to become like a really intimidating performance through the horrendous makeup that I hate. I hate it. Like, this episode specifically, I was looking at them. I was looking at Azure. I was looking at Swarm. I was like, you guys look like ass. And they've got this guy with them now. The big tall guy with the mask.
Yeah.
100% you can buy that mask on Amazon. Like, it's the cheapest looking mask I've ever seen.
I think it looks worse in Azure, the sister character, because it's harder to disguise bad makeup when it's like white. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas Swarm is kind of dark, so it's kind of harder to make out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not terrible, but I hate the glitter on them. I think the glitter on them makes them look way less intimidating. I hate Swarm's weird crystal crown. I'm just not a fan of them design wise, but I think they're really an interesting villain, which is such a weird like pulling sides of my head where I'm like, I hate how they look, but I want to watch them because I find them compelling.
Yeah, we kind of revealed they're kind of multi-dimensional. They can kind of perceive
Like
time in the
teleport
fourth
and stuff.
dimension.
Yeah, and they can also
Yeah.
like transport their body throughout the physical realm.
Yeah.
When Game of Thrones guys start shooting at them and they're like, ha ha ha, we can teleport. And he did not understand that concept at all.
Yeah, he wasted all his bullets in them.
Like, he fires the first one, and like they teleport. He fires the second one, they teleport. He fires the third one, they teleport. It's not until Yaz is like, stop it, what are you doing? That he's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, but we're definitely setting up to be like, oh my god, there is no way the Doctor can defeat these two. Except now they're not really the proper villain. It's more time is the villain, I guess.
Well,
now.
they've set off the chain of events to make time
Yeah.
the villain because they end up they Thanos a couple people and then turn oh my god, Yaz, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
They turn Yaz and Game of Thrones guy into those timekeepers, which is basically what they are, for the big finale of the episode. Which is an interesting concept, but I I'm jumping all over the place at the moment just because I'm thinking of things that happened.
Yeah.
The cliffhanger gets completely ruined by the next time.
Yeah.
Because the cliffhanger is that, Yaz and Game of Thrones guy are held captive and they're about to die when Swarm snaps his fingers. And then in the next time we see Game of Thrones guy running around with the Doctor.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, so they escape. Like,
The BBC are very secretive about this season, but yeah, we let things like that slip by.
yeah,
you could have just cut that out from the next time trailer. Doesn't make a difference.
They could have easily cut out that, or just use a different shot where he's not in it. Yeah. Also, there was some stuff going on with the TARDIS still that I really liked earlier in the episode when Jodie tries to get back in the TARDIS after Dan and Yaz disappear, where she's like running around the TARDIS and there's just no door. It was a really cool shot.
Yeah.
And I'm all on board for the weird, gross TARDIS that we currently have, where it's just oozing and spurting out crystals all over the place.
But yeah, the TARDIS has definitely been fucked with, or fluxed with.
Oh.
Because time has been fucked up.
Yeah, this is going to be such an interesting series to look back on because it is progressively getting more and more complicated, and we haven't even touched on the Weeping Angels episode yet. Like, we haven't even got there. And when we get to the Weeping Angels episode, I'm ready to be super confused. I am ready for it to be like, I don't understand where we are at all anymore.
But yeah, it's revealed in this episode the biggest thing in Doctor Who canon since The Timeless Child. The whole, time is a planet now, which is fucking wild, which is...
Yeah.
I'm not sure how it would contradict previous episodes or
I don't know if it
future
would,
episodes.
Because when the Doctor lands on Atropos, doesn't she like scan something and is like, oh, we're like nowhere? That's not so. Like, the way that I see it is the planet time is like outside the universe almost. It's I hate to say it's in a pocket universe because that's what Doctor Who did to save Gallifrey, but it's like outside of that even. It's beyond all known realms of dimensions or whatever. You're starting to deal with massive, deep sci-fi concepts here.
Yeah.
Which is wild. And it kind of makes the Timeless Child. Oh God, the Doctor's going to be a from the planet Time.
Oh my God, yeah. No, yeah, that's probably gonna be it.
That's where she's from the planet Time.
And the Time Lords are all time people as well, I guess.
I guess, yeah, but that's why she could regenerate, and why the Time Lords like took her and stuff like that is because she's the only known being that's from the planet Time, or the last of the Time people. Oh God, I called the twist, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, this is all. Everything in this season or last season feels like, oh, I need to think about this. I'm not sure how to feel about it yet, because I'm still not sure how I feel about the Timeless Child thing yet. I'm just waiting for them to do a good finish with it. That's the thing,
is I don't know how to feel about it, and so far they haven't mentioned it. Like, they've mentioned 50 other plot points. I mean, they suppose Swarm's technically from her previous lives, but they haven't mentioned, like, the Doctor being upset that Gallifrey's destroyed again.
Oh, yeah. Last season ended with the Master and the Time Lord Cybermen all being destroyed. Like,
yeah, all the Time Lords have gone extinct again, and last time that happened, the Doctor, was very upset. He was the 9th Doctor, then the 10th Doctor, the oncoming storm. He was just grieving for centuries, and this Doctor's like, yeah, whatever.
Well, she did spend like 40 years in prison, but that's not enough.
Yeah, 40 years, that does it. Oh, that just flashed my mind back as well. To that prison episode, which we talked about last week. That prison episode, isn't that the one where Yaz is like, you left me for 6 months?
10 months, yeah.
Yeah, the Doctor's like, I was in jail for 40 years. You left me for 10 months. At least the writing's better this season so far. Yes. So far, Yaz, I only hate her a little bit.
This episode might be the best humor-wise in the Chibnall era, I thought. Like, I think some of Dan's lines facing off against the Cybermen were... Sontarans were great.
I loved Dan's puns as he was knocking Sontarans out with his walk.
He's in his head, he's an action star in his own movie in his head, which is great. Which is where the comedy should come from with the Sontarans. Sontarans shouldn't be the joke. The
Sontarans are hilarious, though. As previously established, they are hilarious. There was one Sontaran joke that made me laugh, and it was in the parlay scene when the commander was like, we want to conquer Earth because of this commander from Classic Who, and also I wanted to ride a horse. Like,
yeah, but it was a great line.
Yeah, it was good.
And then we got the return of the Dog Man, which I'm very happy. I like the Dog Man. He's a good character so far.
Yeah, I like the Dogman's relationship with Dan, where they kind of insult each other, but are also like, I kind of like you. Like,
it does feel very much like Chewbacca and Han Solo, kind of.
Yeah, very, very Star Wars inspired. But again, so far these 2 episodes are pop culture inspired Doctor Who. It's the Thanos snapping people, it's the Star Wars stuff, it's what's popular at the moment that we can kind of steal. Although I have to say, I am really starting to like Dan as a companion.
So am I, but I think his reaction to the Sontarans taking over the Earth was kind of rushed, because he only found out aliens existed 30 minutes ago, and now he's all like, I need to get on his spaceship, take videos of what's going on, and bop him on the back of the head.
He's a practical man. Nothing bothers him. He just takes it on the chin. He's like, okay, cool. There's aliens. I got it. Whatever. I'll deal with it. It's like when he got in the TARDIS and he was like, I'm pretty sure my friend had one like this, but it was bigger. You know, like he's just someone that just deals with it. He's like, yeah, whatever. What? And is that because he just doesn't understand what's going on around him? Probably.
But I think he is kind of a smart, resourceful character. Like, him filming everything that's going on was a smart move by him. He's a smart character so far.
He's a companion that can hold his own as well. Like, he's had basically these past 2 episodes, he's not been a proper companion. It's not been until the end of this episode when Jodie's like, do you want to come in the TARDIS with me? And he's like, yeah, I do, yeah. But like these past 2 episodes where he gets kidnapped by Dog Person and he's the whole time being like, what are you doing? Stop kidnapping me. I don't want to go with you. You know, he's not worried about it. And then this one where he's breaking into the Sontarans and fighting off Sontarans by himself. He's a companion that isn't afraid of the things going on around them and can think in a practical manner rather than constantly relying on the Doctor.
He doesn't need to write down what would the Doctor do in his hand to remind himself of what the Doctor would do.
Exactly. He doesn't need to write it down on his hand. He just does it. Like,
but also, I think the ending of the episode kind of puts a companion in the most danger in quite some time. I don't think we've seen a companion be in this much danger in a while. Like, not since Bill got shot by the Cyberman in the Series 10 final.
Yeah. I was honestly shocked when I saw Yaz and that hooked up to the timekeeper circle stand-in thing that they were. I honestly didn't see it coming. And I was like, oh, damn. This feels tense. This is some genuine. And then as Swarm's doing his monologue where he's like, oh, well, I'll explain everything in good time. But imagine, you know, start counting down. He gets Azure to start counting down from, I think it's like 10 or something, which adds that ticking clock where it's like, oh, the pressure's building. He's like, as soon as I snap my fingers, they'll feel the full force of time. What do you think it's going to do to their bodies? Which we know it's going to be fine because the next time showed us that they get away.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that spoiled it for me because I was like, that's such a good cliffhanger. That really left me like, oh man, I want to watch next week's episode right now.
Yeah, we really didn't need it next time, trailer, but we know next time the Cybermen are coming back and the Weeping Angels are in it, which is more plot lines, which we love.
Yeah, I love introducing more plot lines halfway through the series. So you have to think if you think this is a 6-episode series, that's us just finished the first act. If we're splitting up 2 episodes an act. So we're heading straight into the second act and we were like, let's introduce more stuff. Why not? You know.
But I like this episode because they've done stories in the past. The Chibnall era has done stories in the past where different time eras are explored or different continents on Earth are explored. But I think this one really gives them enough time to explore it because there's like in the 1800s, present day, and on the planet time, which is 3 different locations, 3 different companions, and they all kind of get their own storylines to figure out. They don't have to meet each other back up at the end of the story to wrap things up again, which is really good for his storytelling. And also, this episode was extended by 10 minutes, which really helps the story not to be rushed, thankfully, which is the problem with most of Chibnall's episodes.
Yeah, the pacing for this episode felt great. It really just felt like one you could sit back and enjoy. Doctor Who, which is a feeling I haven't had in what feels like forever with New Who, where you can just be like, this is just entertaining through and through, good, fun, actiony sci-fi. Also, just because I was looking at the next time part, you 100% see Yaz, Game of Thrones guy, and Dan standing next to the Doctor.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, it's the back of their heads for sure, and it's just for the briefest of moments, but that's all the tension gone from that cliffhanger, isn't it?
And also the Probationer from Misfits is in the next episode.
Who from Misfits?
He's like the Probationer in like season 4 or whatever. Really shitty seasons.
Yeah, I remember the first like 3 seasons really well, and then I really struggled with the show.
Yeah, same.
I sent you an image of the four of them standing together.
Okay, yeah, I see.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, like remember when the BBC took down the Doctor Who social media for like a day to kind of promote the new season, but not really, because of secrecy and all that? Well, now we've got trailers revealing what happens to characters. Great.
Yeah, completely. Within 30 seconds, taking the tension out of the cliffhanger.
Yeah. I think if I was Chibnall, I'd be like, please don't run a next time trailer. Just let people tune in next week to find out what happens. Like, you don't need a next time trailer.
Here's my question for you. 2 episodes deep into this series, would you have preferred it to all come out at once?
No.
Really?
I like the discussion and having theories be discussed. If that makes sense. Like, I don't like having to watch a whole season and be like, oh, I can't discuss with my friend because he's 2 episodes ahead of me, so I can't speak to you about it. Whereas here it's like, oh, this is what came out this week, and I get to discuss what I think might happen next week, and the whole internet can discuss what's going on.
Yeah, I get that. I almost wish it came out at once. Mainly to avoid the next time trailer issue where it spoils things coming up next. I mean, BBC could just not play it, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's that's not a problem that's not a problem with weekly schedules. That's just a problem with the BBC being weird about spoilers.
Yeah.
Also,
I finished this episode and really wanted to watch the next one.
Yeah. You have to wait.
I know, I don't want to wait.
But the way I see it is, with 6 episodes, that means people are talking about Doctor Who for 6 weeks. If it just all came out at once, maybe you'd have people talk about it for a week or 2, but then it'd be forgotten about immediately. Whereas now it's just like, oh, Doctor Who at a time, and everybody talks about it for a whole month. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very good. Also, just very quickly, just because I'm skipping through the next time segment, what do you think of this new Cyberman design that we're getting?
I need to go to the next time segment to see them. Give me a second. Oh yeah, I think that's pretty much the same design as we've seen at the end of Series 12.
I mean, it's at a Series 12, they had like all the Time Lord gear on them though, didn't they?
Yeah, but before that they had this kind of look.
Yeah, I think it's a solid look. I think it's possibly my favorite Cyberman redesign since the original when they came back in
No, I don't like it as much. I don't like the lighting up with the chest area. It's a bit too robotic for me. My favorite design of a Cyberman is the Frankenstein design, where you can see half of the face of a person. That's fucking fantastic, I thought.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, but I like this one.
Well, you're wrong, aren't you?
And I think I think this one's a pretty decent blend between when they brought them back and they were these huge clunking machines, and then later in the Matt Smith era where they really slimmed down the Cybermen. I like the Cybermen being clunky.
Yeah, they kind of have the 80s heads, with like the Earthshock heads, and their bodies are kind of like the Nightmare and Silver bodies, which I don't like the Nightmare and Silver bodies. I don't like them lighting up.
Yeah, they should all have Cyberwoman bodies.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That was hands down the best Cyberman design. So I don't even know why we're having that discussion.
But yeah, overall that episode was pretty darn good.
Oh my god, hang on, do we see them twice? Oh, we see them twice. We see Yaz and Game of Thrones guy twice in the next time trailer. It's a blink and you miss it thing, but
yeah,
there they are, loaded up with guns, with Dan in the middle, and those are the division guns that we saw the people that were keeping Swarm captive with. So are the division going to swoop? Are the division going to swoop in and save Yaz and that at the start of the next episode?
Yeah, I presume so. It's such a busy season, isn't it? There's so many plot lines going on. Like, we still don't know what happened to Dan's girlfriend.
We see them a third time. My god. There's a scene where Yaz is in military uniform shaking the hand of Game of Thrones guy.
Wow.
going through this next time segment scene by scene is insane, because these are some quick, like, this is like half a second that like a frame pops up with them on it. Yeah, so, oh wait, no, this is the bit where Yaz like glitched out into somebody else. Oh, but maybe it's like a disguise that they're wearing. I don't know. But the next time segment did end with Yaz looking at a weeping angel in the back of her police car. Yaz has finally remembered her job. Hell yeah.
But yeah, a good episode overall.
Strongest episode of the series so far.
Not saying much because it's only been 2 episodes, but yes.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. I think
there was only like 2 plot lines in this episode attached to, so that's great at least.
I think it's possibly one of my favorite Jodie episodes.
I wouldn't go that far. I think Demons of the Punjab and
it's not my favorite, but it's up there with the best Jodie episodes for me. Because Jodie has a lot of bad episodes, and when she has a good one, it's far and few between. Like, there's maybe 5. Like, I think this was definitely a really, really strong episode.
And yeah, the online fan response so far has been great. To be fair, it's only been like an hour, but most people seem happy with it. That's good.
Yeah,
I'm happy we've got positive Doctor Who discourse again on the internet.
It's wonderful, isn't it? Yeah, on the Doctor Who forum that I'm a part of, because I'm very cool, the general consensus is 8 out of 10. It's certainly worthy of very high praise, with 9 out of 10 coming in second place. This is 406 votes so far. It goes up into the thousands, but that's like very early responses. About 8 or 9 out of 10. I would say 9 out of 10. I love this episode. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, good to have Doctor Who back. I'm happy. It's good to have Doctor Who back, even though it'll be gone before we know it, and we'll have a whole year without much Doctor Who again. Can't wait.
We are approaching the halfway point to this series, which is
it's insane.
Terrifying. And then we'll be sitting waiting for news about the New Year's special.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any news until Christmas Day. And then after the New Year's special, it'll be like, where's the Easter special? Because we've got to get another Easter special. Second one, hell yeah. And then what's after? Do you think they'll do a Halloween special? Because they've got 4 specials next year, don't they?
3 specials. The
is it just 3?
Special, yeah.
The BBC one.
Yeah, which will be like October or November, I reckon. Which is also going to be the 300th story, which is really, really nice.
That worked out well, didn't it? The 100-year BBC and 300 episodes of Doctor Who.
It's perfect timing.
Yeah, that's good. But I think that's it. Nothing but good praise for this episode. What would the Doctor do?
Yes, aside from that.
So what's next week episode is Once Upon a Time, it's called, isn't it?
It's Once Upon Time.
Once Upon Time. I'm not going to call it that. It's going to be Once Upon a Time. Like, just automatically my brain is going to correct that.
Yeah, same here. I've read it as Once Upon a Time several times already, because I just think of a TV show, Once Upon a Time, which is shit.
I haven't watched it properly. I watched like the first couple seasons, and it's like fine junk food.
Yeah, same. Hopefully Robert Carlyle was in the next episode, though. That'd be great.
That would be awesome if he was. But next week we will be back with our episode review for Doctor Who Flux. The deep dive of Torchwood just came out 2 days ago. So worth listening to that. The sexiest Doctor Who spin-off.
Yep. And also next Friday we have Day of the Doctor, our 8-year our celebration of the 8th anniversary of the 50th anniversary. Try to wrap your head around that.
Time is a planet now. But thank you very much for listening. This has been Who Watches Who, a Doctor Who podcast. You can find us on Facebook at Who Watches Who, on Twitter at Watches Doctor, on YouTube at Who Watches Who. You can follow me on Twitter at Cloth223, and over to you, Scottathin.
Be sure to send us an email at whowatcheswhopod@gmail.com. have anything to say about this season so far, any theories going on,
Yeah.
we'll read it out at the end of the month, which is October 26th. So be sure you've got plenty of time to send in an email.
You say
And,
October. Did you just say October?
Yeah. Yes, I did. November. Where did October go?
Yeah, November the 26th. The year is almost over. But thank you very much for listening. And goodbye.
Bye-bye.